Post-void dribbling, why does that happen? Why? Why do some of us dribble after we pee? And how can we stop it? Let's get into it. Don't you hate when you're finished peeing on the toilet, you get up because you're done and dribble, urine dribbles out and leaks out. And it's getting all over your underpants, your underwear, because you thought you were done. You sat down, you thought you were done, and you stand up and you get this dribble. Very, very common complaint by both penis and vulva owners, what we call in urology post-void dribbling. Why does that happen? Why? Why do some of us dribble after we pee? And how can we stop it? Let's get into it. So, dribbling after you urinate or post-void dribbling is a very common complaint that urologists will hear from patients. So what are the mechanisms that cause this to happen? Well, first of all, it's important to understand that we normally leave a little bit behind in our bladders when we urinate. Common misconception is that we are supposed to pee out every single drip drop down to zip zero. And that's not necessarily true. It is normal, completely acceptable and normal, to have a bit of a small residual after you urinate that is left over. Most of the time, this residual isn't felt or perceived by our bodies. We pee, we feel done, we feel complete, we stand up, we wash our hands. We wash our hands, and we go about the rest of our day until we feel like we need to pee again. And we might have 1 to 2 ounces of urine remaining or residual after we urinate that we didn't even know. But this residual, this normal residual, sometimes can get emptied out when we stand up. All right. One factor is gravity. Simply put, gravity can allow that residual to find its way outside our body, especially because while we're peeing, our sphincters, that's the muscles that keep things tight around the outside or the opening of the bladder and around our urethra, the tube we pee out of, so that we aren't leaking inadvertently or when we don't want to throughout the day. When we are peeing, that sphincter is relaxed because we're peeing. We're trying to release urine. And so that relaxed sphincter and our relaxed pelvic floor muscles are still potentially relaxed when we stand up after we're done. And because of that relaxation and that residual, that urine can find its way out with that combination because our pelvic floor and our sphincter muscles are relaxed and we have stood up and gravity is bringing it down. So that's one reason. Another reason is that urine can get trapped into the urethra. So it's not in the bladder, but there's a little bit left in the urethra, along the urethra. And if it's left in a part of the urethra that is beyond the sphincter, so that sphincter muscle is around the part of the urethra that's closer to the bladder, but the urethra extends beyond the bladder. And so because it's beyond that sphincter control, gravity will simply allow that urine to draw itself out. In vulva owners, urine can get trapped inside the actual vulva. So we pee out of the urethra. Just to remind you, we have the urethra, the vaginal opening, and the anus. Okay, 3 separate holes. We pee out of the urethra, and urine could conceivably get trapped into the vulva or the vagina. And then when we stand up, it leaks out. And the last thing is that we're dribbling because we are not emptying our bladders. And so I just said at the beginning of the video that is normal to have some residual urine as you pee, but it is not normal to have a significant residual urine when you pee. What is that number? Well, there's no defined absolute, but generally speaking, vulva owners generally empty and have a residual that's less than 2 to 3 ounces or 90 milliliters. Penis owners have a little bit more of a residual, usually under 4 ounces or 120 milliliters. And these are not absolute cutoffs. But if you have a residual that's higher than normal, if you're not emptying your bladder as well as you should or near completely, then you could be dribbling as a little bit of an overflow. And so in that regard, we might have to address why you're not emptying and really address that root problem to be able to help you with your dribbling. One common cause in penis owners that can be a reason why their bladders aren't emptying, especially in aging penis owners, is an enlarged prostate. Prostate is an organ in a male. It secretes prostatic fluid, which makes up part of the semen. The prostate is the only organ in an adult human that continues to grow as it ages. So in men, it continues to grow with age. And so that growth can make it harder for bladders to be emptied, as the prostate sits right outside the bladder, underneath the bladder. And then that could then result in more urine being retained or left over after urination and translate into dribbling after urination. So what can be done about this post-void dribbling, assuming that you have a normal emptying or normal residual? Well, honestly, unlike other types of incontinence, medications, surgeries, procedures are not likely to address post-void dribbling specifically. Really, it's behavioral changes. And what I tell individuals is that, simply put, anticipate a dribbling once you stand up. Don't pull your pants up or underwear up right away. In fact, stand over the toilet and kind of like wait for a few moments at least and see what happens. The other thing you can do is, while you're on the toilet when you finish peeing, you can gently use your hands and press right above your pubic bone. This area right above your pubic bone, that bone that sits deep in your pelvis, press right above. That's where your bladder sits when it's full with urine. And so if you press right above that, you can kind of compress it and you can lean forward, and that might get the little bit left over completely out. Or vulva owners, you can gently place the tip of your fingers inside your vagina and press upward. Upward in the vagina is pressing on the underside of the urethra, and you can try to milk any residual urine out that is in the urethra, the tube you pee out. You will get urine on your hands. So again, you're going to wash your hands anyway, right? Because we all wash our hands, right? So these are some of the tricks, some of the reasons behind this very common complaint of dribbling when you stand up after you pee, post-void dribbling. I know this had to help somebody out there. I basically just gave you a free consult right here on my YouTube channel. So let me know what you think. Comment below. Make sure you subscribe and join me next week, and tell a friend to also subscribe and join me every week for all things down there right here. Bye.